Okie dokie. Well, it's all about the hedgehogs. So let's draw a hedgehog and then we can make the pattern from the hedgehog. It works for me. This is just how I roll. Okay, so big body. I know we've got some white fur here. I'm going to use that for the body. Okay. And then we've got a little head, and I'm going to make a little triangle. And I might get away with doing it that way. Yeah, no, I'll do it that way. Okay. So let's get rid of that triangle, and let's just do the triangle up here. So I need the triangle to be as long as his head, and then I'm going to taper it onto the body, and the body is just a dome, and then I'm going to do a base. So the base needs to be including the head, so that's the fold. And then as long as the body, probably like that. Okie dokie. So that's the base on the fold, as it were, if I was just making a 3D stand. Well, how boring is that? You know, I'm making a PJ case. So what I need to do is I need my body to come round and go like that. So these bits can all be sewn in, but then I can have quite a flap which I can tuck in for the body. So one side's going to be like that, and one side's going to have like an envelope fold. Okay. So, and that's quite nice really, isn't it, that he can have... Should we draw him from the front? I haven't decided whether I want my little chap to have like a little Mohican bit here. Do you know, I think I do want that. And then he's got his little eyeballs and his pointy nose. And nose is going to be a couple of stitches of embroidery thread, and eyes, I've got some safety eyes here for him. So, and then literally just little back balls. So how simple is that? I'm going to line the inside of the PJ case with wadding, and the pattern for that will be a smaller version of this dome and a circle at the bottom. So, no sense there from anyone really. I'll get the pieces laid out and hopefully that'll be clearer. Okie dokie. So, we've got long white fur. The grain's going that way, so let's be, yeah, because we can. Now, that's my little head, and I need the fur to go off the back of his head. So that's grand. I can use the salvage, no reason why not. Might be a bit jumpy when I go over the sewing machine. So this is the main side of my body. Give myself a hem allowance because I'm kind to myself. There we are. Now, okay, when bought it from the shop, you can see the ladies cut it all the way across. What you can do with fake fur is you can just cut the backing, and I know this sounds, let me get started, and I can even use the scissors properly. It's a left-handed thing, and I can literally cut the backing between so that I don't have that all broken off, because if I cut the lot, what you'd see was that, and then we'd have loads of dust in the sewing room. And that wouldn't be fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to inch round and just cut the backing of this fur. In a way, this is great because there's lots I can tell you about sewing fur, because I know lots about it. Alright, okay, so I've got my bits cut out except for the body. I've got my little head, which is going to go on his little body. This is the bottom. I haven't got my wadding cut out yet though, and I've got to cut that out and sew it, and I also need to cut out my Mohican strip for the top of his head. I know, these things are important to me. Alright, I'll finish my cutting out. Thank you. Hello there. So, I'm just tidying up the last bit of the quilting on the lining. Now you can buy this already made, you know, and yeah, but I thought, well, why not? I only need a little bit. There we are. Oh, don't want to sweep anything on the floor. So there I have my tiny bit of wadding that I need for the inside of my pyjama case. I have my outside and my face, my bottom and my Mohican. Now I guess the next bit to sew is the two bottom bits together and then work up. Yep, sounds good to me, so let's get that done. I just want to re-thread my machine. I was a bit savage with it. Yeah, this is going to work. No, it's not going to work. Okay, I can come back to that. Okay, okie dokie, super shiny side on fluffy side. So, super shiny side on fluffy side. Yeah, I picked up the wrong one. But, you know, life is like that. It can be unkind. Oh, right, we're working. I did just change the bobbin, so I thought it's going to go soon. Okay, right. Not only do I like to keep my bobbin thread wrapped around my foot, I also don't like to push my bobbins home properly when I push them in. I don't know why people trust me with these machines, eh? Okay, yeah. I attempt to start again. Lovely. So yes, let's talk about sewing with fake fur. It's just to use a ball needle, a ballpoint needle, and what that means is it pushes the threads out of the way when you sew. So it makes it a lot easier for it, I guess. Okay, I'm using a normal needle, and what I'm doing at the minute is I have my base of the Hedgehog, and I'm sewing just a piece of the purple lining to it so that it's lined, because it's going to be open, as it were, as a PJ case. Now, I've chosen purple for two reasons. She likes the colour purple, and although traditionally I think it's shiny red people use, isn't it? Sort of red taffeta-y. And I just thought, well, actually that's a bit macabre really. So yes, purple it is. And yeah, now let's get this going. I'm sure once it realised what it's supposed to do, it was so fine. Funny old machine, eh? I think it likes me to move the dials, you know. So who knows? But, yeah. So let's get this going. Anyway, you know what I'm going to do? So what I can do is I can literally get caught up. I need to sew my two bottom bits together, and and then I can sew my head together, and then I can sew my outer, and then I can sew my inner. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, so we're getting there. I've got the bottom bits here, and I think I'm going to do the head next. So, what I need to do is I need to sew in the dart at the top of the head, and I need the fur to come away and go through to the body. So, what I'm going to do now is, I know that I've got all my fur going in the right direction, is I'm going to put it under the machine, and what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to sweep all the fur downwards, and this way I shouldn't get too much stuck in my seam. Lovely. Following this around to the top, the brim of his nose, the brim of his nose. Okay, and now I don't know what my machine is saying to me. It has done a lot of sewing this morning. It did a jelly roll quilt, and it's completely finished. And yeah, it's just sulking, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to get that sorted out, or maybe even change machines. Hello, I've changed machines. I know, they make no sense to me. And I've got my mohawk darts ready to go. I've got it sewn in one side. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to convince the machine that it really wants to work, and I'm going to do this by pushing the right pedal. I know, how extreme is that? Give up soon. Yes, it did work. It's not working now, no. But you know, this happens sometimes when there's a lot on your mind. It's kind of like you can't sew when you're angry. Although I'm not angry, I'm just a bit tired. Okay, so now, fingers crossed, everything is right. I have white cotton, pink bobbin thread, so we should be able to see that. And machine set up with ballpoint needle. So I am coming up at the bottom of the mouth, and I'm going to leave my needle down. I'm just coming up to the brink of the nose. And then I am going to sew the other point of my diamond on. And I've given my fur a little swoosh that way so that it all does the area. Okay. So, because I drawed this patch, I drawed this myself on a piece of paper, a scrap of paper. I'm just going to put it round so I can have a look at it, because I don't want it too beaky and I want it nice and plump. But that looks fine to me, doesn't it? And there's actually no reason why we can't do the eyes now as well, because then it's done. Because some of it we're turning inside out and some of it we're stuffing, and yeah, I don't want to get too confused, so I'm going to do the eyes now. And yes, little eyeball, little washer, probably put it halfway home. Yeah, and I think hedgehogs have little beaky eyes, don't they? So I'm not worried that these are quite small. And find that hole that I just snipped. It's quite far down. Yep, that's all good. so what I'm doing is I'm half pushing my eyes in, checking their level, and then going back to them because of, oh, there's nothing more annoying than a beaky hedgehog, is there? So let's just double check. There we are, finally got it in. And then we can push them home. Lovely. Okay, yeah, no, I'm waffling, aren't I? Not actually sewing. So, I guess the next piece to do is the main body. Now what we need to do is we need to okay, yep, I know exactly where I went wrong there. I'd got two left halves. So what I've done, it looks like I've now got a spare back piece of hedgehog in my pile, so, but that's good. I'm now cutting it out the right way. And what you should always do is lay them opposite each other so you know where you're going. Yeah, I can only apologise. Okay, so I'm getting this cut out now. Probably not at the best angle. That's grand. And it did give me a minute just to think about where to go next and how to do this and how to do that. Because sometimes, you know, even though I know, I can get a bit... So, that's out of the way. I now have my bits. So, I want this right side to right side.